Hello everybody, I'm Dan. Welcome to my Java tutorial series. Throughout my tutorials I will teach you Java using just Notepad and the command prompt. The order in which my tutorials are organized on both my website at javacjava.com and my YouTube playlist is designed to maximize learning by building on concepts from prior tutorials. This tutorial is part 3 in creating a thread. I'm going to open up my web browser to my website, javacjava.com, select begin, and I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the creating a thread part 3, where we'll spawn multiple child threads and learn about thread safety. Alright, let's go ahead and open that up. This tutorial will directly build on concepts and source code for my creating a thread part 1 tutorial and creating a thread part 2 tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll demonstrate how to create multiple child threads using both versions of my custom prime number calculating classes. I will introduce you to a concept called thread safety. A method in Java is considered to be thread safe if it can be used by multiple threads without causing any problems. You will see how easy it is to get wrapped up in the power of multi-threading without considering the side effects of thread safety. All right, let's go ahead and come down here and highlight all this source code. Okay, Control C to copy, or right click and select copy. I'm going to move my browser off screen here, and I've got a shortcut to the command prompt on my desktop, but if you don't, you can create a new one by right-clicking New Shortcut, CMD next, and Finish. All right, let's go ahead and open that up and type in javac, which is a Java compiler command. You should see all this stuff scroll by. If you receive an error message, watch my tutorial on installing the Java Development Kit. You want to make sure you get that installed and configured properly before continuing. CLS to clear the screen, CD space /, CD is short for change directory, / tells it to go to the root. Make a directory called Java right off of the root, and I already have that folder, but if you don't, it'll go ahead and create it for you. I'm going to make another directory here called creating a thread 3, and we'll change directories to that folder and clear my screen. I'm just going to Notepad, creating a thread 3.java. Okay, Control V to paste, or right click and select paste. All right, so what I've done here is I've got 4 classes in here. My main one I'm importing the java.util package first of all, and in my main one right up here, creating a thread 3, I've got my main method entry point, and I just did a couple little methods up here. I'll go over those in a second. Actually, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this class here called prime stuff, right? And basically what I've done is, I'm going to jump over to these two here, right? So I've got, before I had my calculations, I've changed this to mycalc thread. This one extends thread, and mycalc runnable, which implements runnable. All right, so we can demonstrate both ways of doing this, and I will do that up there. So I basically took the prime stuff routine, or the isIt prime method out of both of these classes and just put it in another separate class here called prime stuff, right? And I added a simple little routine, if it's even, then it'll just display it by divisible by 2, so it's no longer just unique to odd numbers there. Okay, now this will return a string now, right? And so basically, in this particular routine, if it's divisible by another number other than itself, it'll go ahead and return back, the number plus not prime divisible by that. Otherwise, if it makes it down to here, then it'll go ahead and say that number's prime. So we'll be returning that back there. So inside of the overridden method inside of these, we'll be invoking the prime stuff isIt prime method here by creating a new prime stuff object, right? And then invoking the isIt prime. That'll return back a string. So now I've got this other method here called add to list. And this might get a little confusing here, but I figured I'd go over thread safety and show you how to do all how this works all in one video. So I'm going to be throwing a lot at you here. But the main class up here with the main method entry point in here is called creating a thread 3, right? And so I am just basically invoking this static method called add to list that I created up here. Okay, and add to list, it's a static method, void return type, just takes in a string parameter, And I have this static array list right here, right, of string type, and I call it prime list for the reference variable on that, right? And so all I do is I add the message that we get back from the isItPrime method right down here. You know, whatever message is basically the string that's coming back, whether it's not prime, whether it's divisible by 2 or divisible by whatever, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm creating an array list. So that'll basically build up string messages of all of the numbers that we are trying to see if they're prime or not, okay? And so that is the purpose of the add to list method right here, okay? And I'm invoking the add method from, of course, the array list class to go ahead and add that to the array list object. Now, I highly recommend, if you haven't watched all my array list stuff, that you might end up a little bit confused here, but hopefully not. But if you've got an idea what array list is, you should be just fine. So let's talk about what I've done in the main method now. I've now got 4 statements, and I'm starting out at this particular number here, right? And basically, this one will start off with a 6, and this one will start off with a 9, and that's by design. And I'm going through basically 100 numbers here, give or take one. And then I'm doing a new thread, and then I'm passing it in a runnable there, right? And into the thread constructors thing there, which was basically part 1 of my tutorial on doing the runnable stuff there. And then I'm invoking, of course, the start method for the thread class there. So I'm creating 100 new threads, new child threads in this particular for statement here. Now, right after that, I'm creating another, not quite 100 this time around, just right around 90, a little less than 90. Well, divided by 2, so like 50 here. So I'm doing 50 up here, maybe like 45 here, right? Because I'm only doing odd numbers, right? I'm doing x plus equals 2 here, so I'm skipping around on the odd numbers. I don't even want to do the even numbers, it's pointless. But anyway, and this one I'm just basically doing the second, like part 2 of this creating a thread series, I guess you could call it there. I'm invoking the version of my class that extends thread, right? This one implements runnable for my calc runnable. This one extends thread, okay? But both of them in the run class will basically invoke the isItPrime with a number to factor, and that'll return back the string, and then the add to list will add it to the array list, okay? All right, so if you're a little confused, don't worry about that. It'll all come clear here and once I run the code here. And then this is all just my cheesy little animation for my spinner. Only the only thing I'm checking for is while the active count is greater than 1, okay? So I've added this up here, total number of active threads here, right? And that'll be the active count there, right? And then I'm displaying calculating primes, and when it's all done and over with, like we're down to our last thread, which is of course is the main thread, then I'll go ahead and break out of the while list, and I'll just do a little print line here. And I'll declare another array list, filled list, and I will get the get list reference, right? Which is this private static array list up here will just basically return prime list. I'll get a reference return the reference variable to it. So I'll have a reference to the original array list here. And then I'm just going to loop through that list and display its contents there. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this, and then I'll go over a few more things once we run it there. All right, let's clear our screen, Java C to compile this. I apologize, there's a lot of confusion, in this particular video there, but there's no easy way to kind of explain stuff other than by example here. So let's go ahead and run this here. So total number of active threads, 74. Well, that's a lot less than what we were expecting, and that's because some of the threads have already, some of the threads at this point have already, in between when we're starting them up, these new threads right here, and by the time we get down to where it's displaying total number of active threads, some of them have actually finished their calculations, right, and are no longer active anymore. Okay, so here is our list of all the numbers, and out of all those numbers, you can see like the number 6s, right, and they're kind of scattered up. Some of them are scattered in here's a 9 and a 6. Some of those threads ended even before, you know, the 9 threads did, and so on and so forth there. So, but anyway, this is our total list right here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open my resource monitor here, okay? And I have got all of my computer basically has a quad core processor there. So I've got, this is CPU 3, 2, 1, and 0. So there's my 4 processors right there. Let's go ahead and minimize this and let's run this again here. Okay, now if we pop back over to the, you can see here the huge spike in all, and it's utilizing all 4 of my cores here big time, right? And you know, as those threads kind of die off, and some of them are left over right at the moment there, right? You could see how the threads die, and nice visualization, and then the program is done, and then you can see boom. So by using the multi-threading, you can see just how efficient we are as far as using the computer's resource too as well. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm just going to do something real quick here, Java, and then I'm going to run it again really quick right after that there. What I'm trying to do is trying to force a non-thread safe issue here. And I was actually expecting it to come up in the first or second results there, and it doesn't want to show its ugly head right at the moment there. Let's do this. I'm going to chew up some more resources. What'll happen is the array list class is not thread safe, okay? And specifically the add method is not thread safe at all there. You have to synchronize some stuff and everything like that, and I'll get that into later tutorials here. But boy, I'm not sure. Oh, here we go, finally. Excellent. So if we scroll up to the one before that, right, calculating primes, everyone came out with a result here. Now you see calculating primes and you see null and null. So the first couple of records in the array list are actually null. Well, that's not good. That means that 2 of the calculations at some point in time failed out in some sort of manner. And technically, they didn't even really do that. What happened is, and I'm going to pull up the source code again here, right? I did this on purpose up here, creating this single array list here. And then by you doing this add to list method here and invoking the add, right? That allows both of these threads, the mycalc thread and the mycalc runnable thread, to go ahead and access those add to lists whenever they want. Okay, so we've got multiple threads basically invoking the add method from the array list class at the same time. And this is where we talk about thread safety, right? This is a problem right here. So you get unreliable results. Now, if we come over to the array list class over here, they got in bold, note this implementation is not synchronized, right? If multiple threads access array list instance concurrently, at least one of the threads modifies the list structurally. It must be synchronized externally. Now, a structural modification of any operation is one that adds, which is exactly what I'm doing, deletes one or more elements, right? Which basically resizes the backing array. And we don't have to pay any more attention to this, but this sort of stuff, when you're not familiar with like threading and synchronization, you know, it might as well just be Greek, right? So you'll as we go over thread safety, multi-threading, thread safety will become like a huge issue. Now, there is what's called copy on write array list, which is a thread safe variant, right, of array list, which all mutative options, add, set, and so on are implemented in making a fresh copy of the underlying array. So what we could do here is, this is part of the java.util.concurrent package here. We'll come over here and we'll import that. And we'll come back to the documentation here. I'm kind of done with the processor. Let me pull back up our documentation here. And I'm just going to, rather than type this in, I'm just going to cut and paste anywhere we've got array list in here. I'm going to I want to replace array list with copy on write array list. Okay, so we're just going to replace all on that, and that replaced it there, there, and here, I believe. Yep. So let's go ahead and save this. So, and let's recompile. Oh, it would help if I spell import right. Save it and recompile. All right, let's clear our screen and let's go ahead and run this again here. Okay, now by using the, that particular one here, copy on write array list, right? This will ensure that we will not have any issues with the add method when we invoke that to go ahead and populate the array list, and basically eliminate any sort of problems with having like the issues on the add per se, and we could run this, a million times over again, and we're not going to end up with that sort of thread safety issue there. So anyway, I think that's about all I wanted to go over with there. I'll just do a quick recap on that. Just definitely wanted to demonstrate both of the ways of starting a new thread from part 1 and part 2, and that pretty much about sums it up there. Of course, you can see we found a couple prime numbers within those ranges, and then everything else on that too as well. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out of that, and I'll move this back off screen here. And I'm just going to leave you with just a couple final thoughts here. So I went over quite a bit in this tutorial. You can definitely see the power of multi-threading, but the downside of using that power is the issue of thread safety. Now, in future tutorials, I will demonstrate how you can overcome thread safety issues with tools such as like synchronization. But anyway, that concludes this tutorial. Thanks for watching.